7:30. This is the Tuesday, February 11th meeting of the Historical District Commission. The time is 7:30. First thing on the agenda is Steve Herman is not going to attend, so Rich Malloy is going to be his substitution. And the reason for substitution is his attendance, not being able to attend. So the first thing on the agenda is to discuss the demo permit for 85 Furnace Lane. Demo to construct a new efficient home. There was a site visit on January 13th. You went on the site visit.
Correct. Yeah. Again, really not very anything historically significant. It's a beautiful site, great location. But most of all, the furnishings in the home or externally, internally, have already all been modified and changed already. The home is currently, has electricity, plumbing, septic. It is a viable home, but the homeowner is looking for a new energy efficient home. I'm going with that we should allow them to redo that, so to have that more energy efficient home.
Anybody want to discuss it?
Anyone bring the photos?
Get the photos?
Is it a rehab or a new house?
Tear
To
down.
be a tear down.
Tear down.
What is the age of the house that's being torn down?
It is 1830.
The actual demo permit, the demo
Oh, okay,
application, yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, there it is, right there.
It's on one of the plans.
Was I right?
8-7, yeah. Let's see if we've got I had the photos last
I
time.
would imagine that if this is an 1830 house, it's got an awful lot of problems with it.
Yes.
And that's why he wants to tear it down.
Yeah, so it originally started out, it appears as a cottage, and then there's been, over the years, it's been added on. Nothing is, what's the word I'm looking for? Not convoluted, but, working together with each of the rooms are all broken into sections. It's just not,
It's a mess.
they just want to make a nice home, that's it.
Yep. Fine.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we vote to allow the demolition of 85 Furnace Lane.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
The only amendment I would make is that Allison Glennon was the alternate for Judy Parks. Judy Parks wasn't here due to attendance. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I make the motion that amendment be made for Allison to be credited for attending this meeting due to the absence in Judy's Parks.
I'll second that.
Anyone want to accept the minutes? Motion's accepted.
Accept them.
Are you making a motion?
Already done.
Okay. Perfect.
Done. Okay.
Done. All right, where are we at here? HCCR bylaw change. So we ended up having a lot of input for the bylaw changes, but it didn't fit into the current bylaws. So we ended up using the word alteration to include roofs. So this is what will be presented at town meeting if we choose to accept it. because it changed from the last time we had voted on it, so I just wanna make sure everybody's on board. Any questions? You wanna make a motion? To us, for us to, approve a permit or anything like that. The only thing we're doing is voting to recommend.
Okay.
Is that the whole presentation?
What's that? Yeah, that's the whole presentation. You got it on speed. All right, so, good evening, everyone. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting, and hopefully we can come to a long-awaited resolution. I simply ask that, I know there will be questions, I know there will be comments. If you could please hold them to the end, it would be very appreciative. I understand I'm coming as a new member to this commission. My background comes from a professional career. As long as I've been guided by policies and procedures to help in decision-making. So since coming to the board, 2 homes have come up for review to this commission. Slide 1 is right here. And as we can see here, we, prior to my very first meeting, we came in here to 254 Taylor, excuse me. It was recommended that this home be torn down again to build a new home. It was built in 1758. There's no historical significance. It is an appropriate tear down. This house is viable. This house has plumbing. This house has electrical, a septic system. It is a functioning home. We're gonna tear it down, or the homeowner wishes to tear it down. Which brings us to the second home, the one that we just voted for here tonight. This home came up for review at 85 Furnace Lane. This home was built in 1838. I personally participated in the walkthrough of this home. Again, this home was occupiable at the time with working electrical, plumbing, and septic, and we voted here tonight as an appropriate tear down. They now look at the Turner House that was built in 1805 and is now being new to this commission. I have done my due diligence to try to learn the facts surrounding this home and the historic John Turner Sr. We can clearly see that John Turner Sr. was never alive and never stepped foot in this home. He died in 1794. Never was in this home. So how can we approve 2 functioning homes in the same timeline or the same time period as tear down, but we can't, or we're having opposition to tearing down this home that has been sitting abandoned now for so many years? One of the answers that I had gotten was that this house is a mansion. Well, part of my due diligence is I looked it up. So the appropriate general considering of a mansion is at least 5,000 square feet of living space, depending on its location. And some real estate professionals define it as a mansion, up to 8,000. If you Google right now, Massachusetts historical mansions, these are the ones that will come up. Federal style home. It is rather common for this area, and about historic association. Nope, it's just a family name. Can't say the date of construction of this home. In the last 4 months, we said the home was of 1758 and 1830 are okay to tear down, are out of date. We can original materials. We can discuss original materials in just a minute. As you can see, the Turner home has a total life of 220 years. related to this home. A total of 41 years of its lifetime was with the Turner family. That is 18.6 years of its lifetime. Not even 25% of its life. It's been with the Turner family. As you can see, these historical homes, these original materials, like these examples right here, mantles, moldings, crown, all original materials. This is the Turner home. There's nothing. No flooring, no mantles, no crown. This is it. The only moldings inside the home left are right here. Just basic colonial style molding. Let's see. So the commission seems to be very divided as to whether or not the structure can be moved. We have all previously seen these pictures, and the structure is crumbling, the missing mortar, the giant cracks and chimneys. We don't need to go over all of this, it's already been documented, it's already been done. You know, as much as one side believes that it will survive, the other side is just as determined that it won't survive. We can see in here with the dry rot, beetle damage. These are all factors in trying to move a home. These are structural integrities that are not there. So, having said that, oh, sorry. All right, so in 2006, the community center project was first introduced, where it took 17 years to finally get it approved. There was never a second option for the community center. It was always planned to be a community center, and it was very largely supported by a large part of the community. The Pembroke Library project was proposed and it passed its first time, and it was clear and a concise project Turner, and where the public safety is. So you're gonna have access to all of this. So, so here's a proposed budget of taxpayer dollars for the Turner House relocation. This is where I feel we can do better. So I've asked repeatedly, what is the plan for the house? What is the purpose? Why are we moving it? It has been under the jurisdiction of this commission since 1990, when the town purchased it. Since 1990, nothing of any purpose has ever been brought to the town of what to do with the house. That is 35 years of nothing. It is only since the opportunity of the public safety building, now suddenly there is an issue. So even if the house somehow does survive this move, there still isn't a plan for what to do with the house. We already know the town does not want to be a landlord. There isn't any septic, there isn't any plumbing. The electrical would all have to be modified. So at our last meeting, we discussed at great lengths putting a poll on the town webpage for the residents of the town of their opinions and what to do with the building. As of today at noon, no one from this commission has reached out to the town administrator or anything to do anything to get it done. So what I'm proposing is an idea that was inspired, but I wish Steve was here tonight. It was inspired by him. I feel the compromise is ideal. This is the Turner Family Pavilion, honoring the Turner family and its remembrance. Steve made the statement that it was the bones of this house that we can't forget. So what I am proposing is the house be disassembled, taken down to the very post and beam construction, and reassembling it using structural lag fasteners, then hidden by peg posts, build on a stamped die cast iron living room set, bolted to the concrete floor for families or whomever to gather, to hang out in the Turner family living room or the Turner kitchen. It is a 6-person table. These are working fireplaces. So there will be an eternal flame lit 24/7 for these fireplaces to be lit in the Turner home. These chandeliers are solar powered. They will be on and off dusk till dawn with no cost of any taxpayer for the continual light. As you can see inside the structure, what Steve had said, it is the bones. This is the post and beam construction. That is the foundation of the home. This up here inside the ceiling where the roof is will be displayed that way as well, maintaining its historical integrity. The only thing that is not necessarily that is going to need to be purchased new is the roof. So having said that, the roof will be an aluminum fake slate or slate appearing roof, which would be congruent with the time period of a federal style 1820 home. And this is the side view of the project. As you can see, all the wide posts, as you saw in the original Turner house, because everything's been torn apart, you can see all the wide plank boards. They will be reused. Very little of the Turner home is actually going to end up in a dumpster. So don't think that it's going to be just thrown away and that history is going to be forgotten. This is what I feel is a decent compromise in remembrance of the Turner family, the Pembroke resolves, and everything that has come forth for this project. And, oops, sorry. But this is it. So they will be, like I said earlier, the chandeliers will be solar powered, wrought iron furniture bolted to the floor, and that is really about it. I mean, that's it. So, so in conclusion, I propose this idea as a compromise for all sides to create a gathering place for people where we can come into the middle of history and hang out in the Turner living room or have a meal in their kitchen, earmarking $1 million for this move with no purpose of what to do with the house afterwards just doesn't make sense. The early estimates needed for this pavilion project are in the $250,000 to $300,000 range, returning $700,000 to.
90, so I was not around in 1990.
That's fine.
But the building is owned by the town.
Correct.
It has never been up to the Pembroke Historic District Commission to decide the
It was,
usage
yeah.
for the house.
It was in 1990 when it falls under, because it's a historical building.
To decide the use.
Correct.
Could we clarify that? I'm under the understanding that the Historic District Commission is about the historic districts
Yeah.
and not about the structures. So I just think we should be clear that we're all talking in the same language, because I think that's been one of the pieces of confusion here about what the role of the Historic District Commission is vis-a-vis the house.
Do you have any other questions?
Well, I guess I'm gonna be honest, as a person who's managed a lot of property in my life, it's a lovely idea, but I have several questions. Who is gonna maintain this? And how are we gonna protect these couple-year, 100-year-old structure, timbers and things like that, from the weather, considering the weather that we live in New England. I mean, it'd be nice in my backyard, but I'm not sure, on a
Well,
pub.
see, that's the nice part about this, and that's what Steve brought up. Those timbers, they are over 200 years old.
Yeah,
They're gonna
And?
be here for 200 years more.
exposed to the
In a
weather,
house.
exposed to the weather.
They'll be just fine.
Gee, I gotta be honest with you, my house was built in 17-something, and I've had rotted timbers that have not been exposed to the weather. So anyway, let's not get into that argument, but I guess I'm concerned about we talk about maintaining this, who's gonna hang out there, things like that. I mean, again, it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure that, I think it's a big stretch from what the house is to this concept. And I do have some real serious questions about who would police this and take care of it, because that's not the role of this commission, of this
No.
committee.
But I mean, I guess you're gonna have the same issue with the Turner House itself if you move the whole
Well,
thing.
Right.
I guess the question about the ownership of the Turner House is a big question to me, because if the town owns the Turner House and the historic, the Historical Society is interested in it, would the Historical Society not be able to rent it, or whoever the entity is that would be running the Turner House? Because it's never been clear to me how this whole thing fits together. I'll be honest with you.
Because it's a town-owned building, it's up,
Okay, so it's a town-owned building, so then
Yeah.
so it falls on the town.
goes on the town.
That's the thing is, there's no power, there's no electricity, there's there's a septic plan, but no septic.
Right, right.
And then when you look at the actual plans for the new public safety, they're putting the security gate right against it.
Right, yeah, right.
So,
And who would be responsible for maintaining the Turner House if it was to stay there? The town?
yeah.
The town, the
So, I
town.
mean, it's probably somewhere in the range of $50,000 to $75,000 to maintain that place every year. And where does that come from? Taxpayers?
My biggest concern is you're spending the $1 million to move it, but there is no end game, because
Right.
we're in this vicious circle. It's up to the town to decide, not the HDC.
Right.
So you're gonna move it, and then you're not gonna get any funding to go any further with it. That's my whole problem with this issue.
Which is, that's, a lovely design. I'm just thinking to myself, who would actually be using that?
Kids.
Well, I don't think people would be sitting there.
Well,
High school
the
kids.
original idea behind this was because of all the North River, Pudding Brook, and all that open space behind it. This was like the entrance to like the walking paths behind that. So if you wanted to go back there, you could. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, who's to say that the public safety officers aren't gonna wanna have lunch there? They could.
I have a question, somewhat provocative, so don't take it the wrong way. Is this because this accomplishes what was voted for, which is to move the Turner House?
It moves to Turner
Without
House.
needing to
Mhm.
send public safety back to town meeting for another vote, which was clearly, what some of our select board members had said, this is not open for debate, it's been passed, as the project is. If you need to modify anything, it needs to go back to town meeting for another vote. If it goes back to town meeting for another vote, does it pass? I don't know.
I don't know either,
I'm not like,
but I'm not
so
either.
is
but
this
let-
to avoid that issue?
Well, again, this is just a simple recommendation.
I'm just
Let-
asking the question.
Yeah, and I'm answering. Let's go ahead and let's, there's gotta be some middle ground here that everybody can be happy with. And so, let's utilize that. I mean, cause we can sit here all day long and just keep going back and forth, and nothing is gonna get resolved. Let's find the resolution.
I
So,
like your,
on that parcel. So
So-
again, this is trying to find compromise to make everything work
See,
for
it- to
everybody.
me-
Compromise to make everything work
See,
for everybody.
to me, it's all about John Turner and the resolves.
Yeah.
So if it's the John Turner Memorial Pavilion, and we have like plaques about the resolves there, because it's, it's the site. And you're gonna promoting the resolves, and you can kind of use it as an educational tool. Cause, I don't know. Anybody else have any comments?
I mean, I remember as a little kid, we would always go to the police station and tour it, and go to the fire station and tour it. Now you go to the police station, the fire station, and you go to a piece of history up there, which would be this pavilion.
Yep.
Yeah,
Get the kids up there and they go, oh, what is that? I mean, I didn't know what the results were until about 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah. Do we wanna get some public comment? on
But
this?
at least this gets Pembroke residents to know their history. This is an opportunity for people to go to the home and hang out with their families and gather and be in the actual house. To sit down and have a meal, to sit down and have a conversation, play a game of chess. No idea, but it brings community together.
The other thing I'm afraid of, if we just move it and don't do anything with it, people are gonna hate historical for spending $1 million and doing
Oh,
nothing
I
with
agree
it.
with you.
So he's right, there needs to be some type of compromise, but I don't know, can we, move that microphone to the, podium? Oh.
Hi, how are you? My name is Rich Flynn. Love the concept. This proposal is a halfway point, let's face it. Like, if a contractor comes in here and looks at this house, which they have not yet, to move it, they could say it can't be moved. And if that's the case, this thing gets torn down, this is over, it's gone. And if he says it can, and his insurance company comes in and says, no, we're not gonna insure you for this, it's gone again. So this is a great proposal to honor the location. It's a bit of a downscale, which is great. I like the idea of people going in there. It is away from the police station, it's not too close. There are trails nearby, 2 fireplaces, 1 fire, we're gonna save the bricks. We could maybe use the bricks down below as well, which would really give that feel. This is a taxpayer savings of $700,000. I mean, this is not nickels. This is a lot of money. This is funding the school for 3 years on their deficits. So I'm happy with the concept. Things could be changed and moved around. It doesn't have to be exactly this. I'm just saying, keep an open mind, because the public voted for the public safety building, not necessarily for the Turner House. I mean, it was part of the package, they had to. So, standalone, town meeting, it dies, it's gone. It would never pass. So, I like the thinking outside the box. Again, it doesn't have to be this exact replica of what you're putting forward, which I think is a really good idea. We are also looking into, the community center is gonna have a liquor license. This could possibly, we could have a wedding here, we could broaden it out a little bit, maybe scale it down, and this could be something of value for the town. That's all I wanna say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
Sam Landy, Open Square. Thank you for all the work you're doing on this, and actually thank you all for volunteering, because a lot of times this isn't a thankless thing. Almost. I like the idea. I'll be honest. You said it yourself. This isn't about the Turner House. It's about Turner and the resolves. And the conversation over the last couple of years has been about the house, which a lot of us can debate. What are we really fighting for here? All right, I think it would be better if we had something that, be the next one after that. We can't afford to put $1 million to move a house that needs life support if we don't have a plan for it going forward. And like you said, 35 years, the town hasn't come together and put together a plan. It's not realistic to think it's gonna happen mysteriously somehow in the next couple of years. So I think we really need to back up and say, okay, how do we scale down? put something here that has meaning, all right? But just moving this building doesn't make sense.
And if I
That's
could
my 2
continue on
cents.
what you just said regarding the community center. It took 17 years for the community center to finally pass. There was always gonna be a community center. There was never gonna be anything else but a community center. But it took 17 years to get it to go. It has no plan. Nothing. We're gonna sit here for the next 30 years? It's already sat for 30 years. What's the plan?
Is there a name for the safety building? For the fire station, the police station?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Could they possibly name it the John Turner Safety Building of Pembroke or something?
That
it had
I
that
wouldn't have the power to
incorporated
say
into it?
that one way or the other,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Just a thought.
I think that would be up to the Public Safety Committee.
Yeah.
You wanna make some comments?
Yeah,
No, I'll get it. Won't be the first one, won't be the last. John Brown, Old Washington Street. Just a clarification, when everyone's throwing around the $1 million that was estimated from the original cost. That $1 million that is estimated is for the entire project. Turner House was part of that for the move at that time, for those 3 different things. Moving, foundation, and paint. That was it. So to say that we're gonna give back $700,000 to the public is wrong, unfortunately. It actually is for the project still, to help out. So basically, if I save that money, I can actually see back there with the auxiliary building, I'll be able to basically have that. We're gonna have structure back there, but we'll be able to hopefully complete that within our estimated $61 million cost. Besides that, and I said, Chris, I appreciate everything you've done. It's a wonderful presentation, and I think communal-wise, to make sure that we're not against history here in town. And especially as a board member and also the public safety chair, I'm not against that. It's the whole thing of making sure that we can come together and honor a man that was one of 5 people with the Pembroke Resolves, right? On this, we want to give honor to, the family, but at the same time, public safety is a priority, especially for the town, because we do need that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Do you wanna have any further discussion?
I guess I do have one question.
Sure, no, go ahead.
So, if we make a recommendation to go in this direction.
So there is nothing presented to us.
Right.
So alls we're doing is making a recommendation to
Right.
go in this direction.
Go in this direction.
Then it's up to the town.
Okay, to make the final design and everything,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
But this is just a recommendation.
That's exactly what I thought, I just wanted to be clear about
Yeah.
that. Like I said, I think it's really, it's a great idea, I do have some concerns about access and what could happen there. So that's the town's responsibility to deal with
Yep.
policing and whatever, so.
I'm just trying to find compromise.
No, I know,
Okay.
I think it's a great, I hear you, because the issue with the house not having an end game has been going on for a long time, and I'll be honest with you, a structure like that is a very difficult structure to do anything with. It's too small to make housing or something out of it, it's not configured right or placed right for any kind of a use that the town could really use it for, so I mean, it is a classic white elephant in that respect.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and as much as, I appreciate the history stuff, and, I love taking walks on the area, but I remember, I think it was maybe the November meeting when they brought up the plans, there's not a lot of parking, so I don't see
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of people going there.
That plan is completely
Well,
changed, there's a
if
lot more
you-
parking in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I just remember one of the previous ones, they were talking about,
Oh,
between all
sorry.
the police and the fire are gonna be taking up a lot of those
Yeah.
You got 4 parking
spaces.
spots right in front of the building.
But I believe the new plan
plan has a
has
slightly
parking,
different
almost like a horseshoe shape going up to it.
Yeah. And I don't
Yeah.
think that's
I just don't see-
necessarily impactful.
I just
The
don't
whole
see a
thing
lot
of
of
having a
use.
Use for the building, which I still believe firmly that that's not within our jurisdiction
I
to
agree,
do
I agree.
as a
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah,
And we can clarify that, but it's stating it very firmly that I don't believe that that was this commission's responsibility, is that any usage that the town needs for the building, to your point, Jay, it needs to generate enough revenue to be self-sustaining. And it does appear that we have not been able to make recommendations, brainstorm, et cetera. There's perhaps been a bit of a lack of interest from the town because the site was earmarked for a public safety building, and it would be easier to build a public safety building without a historic home on the property. If I had been around at the very, very beginning, I would have loved to have seen the Turner House become incorporated in the design of the public safety building, much like the bank in the center of town, which I think is one of the most beautiful parts of the center of the town, because
I think they made efforts to
new
do
and
that,
old,
but
so
it just
unfortunately it
wasn't
didn't work.
everyone in favor?
Yes.
Anybody opposed?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. Any new or old business? No. And, public comment, any public comment on the, whole meeting? Nope. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
All right.